We've got a metal cap on this one. We've got polyiso insulation down here. We've got our base sheet, cap sheet, and I'm gonna go into a few of these and just kind of show you how they all work together and how they're installed. All right, Chicago, welcome back to another edition of the Anchor Point YouTube channel, where we talk about all things roof and roof related. I'm Jim, I'm the owner of Anchor Point Roofing. Whether you're a homeowner looking to diagnose a Chicago roof leak, or you're a contractor looking for the best materials, you've come to the right spot. You need information you can trust, and Anchor Point YouTube channel is the spot to be. Today I want to talk about something that's a little bit exciting to me, a little bit nerdy, the parapet wall detail. We find a lot of leaks, we find a lot of issues around the parapet wall, and it's just, to me, kind of a cool way that everything's put together. I've got a few props, I've got a diagram here, and I want to kind of show you what happens and how it's all put together. So let's jump into the parapet wall detail. Let's get a little nerdy here today. So basically, this is a schematic of a parapet wall. A lot of times you're going to see this is masonry. We've got a metal cap on this one. We've got polyiso insulation down here, if you can see that. We've got our base sheet, cap sheet, and I'm going to go into a few of these and just kind of show you how they all work together and how they're installed. So one of the first things we put on a roof after it's been stripped down and we check the plywood and substrate is the polyiso insulation. The amount that goes on is going to vary. Here's a couple pieces of it. This is like 1.5 inch polyiso here. You can see it's got a paper cover on the back, but it provides a nice R value. This is the polyiso down here. The next thing that goes on is something we call the base sheet. It's a bitumen base sheet, and it's the blue line here, if you can see that. So it's like a base sheet. It's a pre-installation. It allows us to heat weld it to it, and I've got a piece here that I want to show you. So this is a bitumen base sheet. It's self-adhering product. So you peel the back off, you stick it on, and you run it up a little bit. You see how high it goes up here on the parapet wall? This is like your first single layer on the bottom of protection. The second piece I want to talk about, this little angle piece down in here. This is called a Cant Strip, like you can't do it, C-A-N-T. And what this does is this allows the membrane, rather than come down and have a not sharp 90-degree angle, it eases this. So you can see it creates two 45-degree angles rather than a sharp 90-degree angle. That eases the membrane, eases the modified bitumen, and allows for a little bit smoother of a transition. You can also imagine this setup is better than a sharp 90 for kind of keeping water out of the corners and the sides where it can accumulate. The next piece I want to show you here is the red line. And this is what we call the cap sheet. So this is a piece of cap sheet, smooth, modified bitumen. This is what we put on a lot of the roofs. It's a heat welded product. So you can imagine, well, like I was talking about, it's gonna go up, the red line is gonna go up a little higher. We wanna see a minimum of 6 to 8 inches from the field up to where this is going to be. If you can imagine, like I'm talking about the Cant Strip a little bit, imagine if you have to bend this in a 45-degree angle. It doesn't even want to do that, and over time it will crack along here. Well, now if you make it a nice double 45, it's eased that membrane, it's eased those lines there and made it a little bit easier. Makes it not that 90-degree angle, if that makes sense. After this is installed, this cap sheet goes on first, and you see it goes up about 6 to 8 inches. The next piece we put on is called the wall flashing, and that's detailed here in the yellow. So the yellow, it's the same modified bitumen piece that I just had in my hand, but this is the wall flashing. This we want up at least 12 to 18 inches from the base, from the field. All right, so you want to see from here to here, you want to see a minimum of 12 to 18 inches. You can imagine a Chicago snow of 12 inches, 15 inches sitting here, and as long as you've got your wall flashing up this high, the snow can sit here all at once. It doesn't have any way to get in. Imagine if it was down here at 4 inches and you've got a foot of snow sitting up there, you're just getting water into the counter flashing and things. So we want to bring that wall flashing up a good 12 to 18 inches and make sure it's adhered properly to the wall. The next thing you're going to see here is the counter flashing. I drew this myself. My drawing skills are not great, but hopefully you understand it. This is the counter flashing. So take a look. This is what gets secured. If you can see that, this is a black piece. So it mounts to the wall like this. we put fasteners in here, and then on top, you can see this angled piece here. Let me zoom in just a little bit. You can see, and again, it's not to scale exactly. Then we put a commercial grade sealant in here, and this seals this up so no water. But the counter flashing's job is to hold this membrane into place. So you're gonna get fasteners that go through here about every 12 inches. Not only is this heat welded to the parapet wall, this cap sheet, this wall flashing, you also have this counter flashing that's gonna help secure it and hold it for a long time. So that's where we are. One thing I wanted to point out about this metal coping, so this is again, almost always masonry. You see how this is angled down? You always want the metal flashing to be angled into the building. If it's outside or if it's pitched out and you get rain and water coming off here, it can stain the exterior of the building. We've had some projects that we've inspected where it was actually causing the windows on the outside to leak. So not a big deal, but you always want this to just be pitched in a little bit. Any water that hits here is gonna run to the drain, scupper, or gutter on your flat roof. So I like this kind of details here. I think this shows you a lot of kind of what's going on and just the detail here. I do have a few pictures that I want to show you of the installation and a few different versions of it. Again, we're going to use Company Cam here, which is an amazing, amazing tool. So here's a wall flashing that's been installed. Here's the scupper down here. You can see we've got this down in the field, at least 6 inches down here, nice and heat weld. Turns up, you can kind of see the 45 there where the Cant Strip is. And then you see we brought it up 12 to 18 inches, secured the counter flashing it looks like every 12 inches. And then this does not have the commercial grade sealing on top yet, but it's gonna have it soon. Let's see, I've got a couple more. Here's a repair we did. It was actually on the same building, but if you look closely here, you can see the Cant Strip installed. You see the little angled piece right there? That's what's helping ease the membrane. This is just a repair we did, so we didn't install this, but this had asphalt primer put on it, and this is the Cant Strip and where it goes. Then we're gonna get the base sheet installed, then we'll get the field membrane, and then we'll follow up with the wall flashing. I know it's easy to see with pictures. Me, I'm pretty visual. I'd like to take you out live right now to one of our projects, and I wanna show you Jesus, our foreman, installing wall flashing. We're talking through it a little bit. Check out this video, it's awesome. All right, so what is this that we're installing here? What is this called?
Okay, this is the field. That's what we call the field membrane. What we call the field always gotta go up at least 3 inches.
Okay.
From here to here.
So it comes from here and turns up?
At least 3 inches.
Okay,
so right
gotcha.
now we got 8 inches, so more than enough.
Gotcha, okay.
So after this part, we're gonna install this. This is what we call the wall flashing.
Gotcha, okay.
So let's say, for example, any water go behind this, it's gonna be protected with this.
Gotcha, okay.
So water never is gonna go this high, so.
Right, we hope not.
No, that's why we got all this.
Okay, gotcha,
So.
gotcha. You can see once it activates that asphalt, it turns into a liquid, it turns viscous for a few minutes, and then they're able to push it around, and that thing is sealed on there forever. You can see we primed the walls before with some asphalt primer. Again, like the scupper box, that really helps it to adhere well. But Jesus makes this work look so easy. It just takes years of practice though. It takes a lot of practice. All right, that's a great video by Jesus. He's got mad skills on the roof. He does everything amazing. Just thought I wanted to share that with you. So this is our parapet detail. We can also do it. This is pretty much considered for a modified bitumen roof. That's what's on 90% of the roofs in Chicago. For a TPO roof or a PVC, it's going to be a little bit different. A lot of the same components. A couple of the components might not be. Like on a TPO roof, we don't use the Cant Strip a lot because it's a thinner membrane and it really curves nicely versus the asphalt product of the modified bitumen. Can get a little more brittle and it doesn't curve quite as well. Also, for a TPO roof, we use counter flashing, but we also use something behind that called the termination bar, then the counter flashing. A lot of manufacturers want to see that in order to stand behind the warranty. I'm getting into the weeds a little bit here, but basically the TPO or a PVC roof is going to be a pretty similar installation when it comes to the wall flashing and making sure that thing is waterproof for a long time. So that's our presentation on the Parapet detail today. Again, whether you're a homeowner looking to diagnose a roof leak or a contractor looking for the best materials, Anchor Point Roofing is the site you need to come to. This is where you can get information that you trust. Thank you so much for watching our video on this, and please tune into the next one. Thank you, Chicago.